this is totally unfair, I think. Not only do I have to follow Mike Mathias, I also have to follow the first trade, and I wasn't prepared to compete with a hologram, so I'm going to step back a bit and talk about how we got to this point and how we're building these products to anticipate further developments in the crypto universe. Konnichiwa, Tokyo, it's great to be here. I think Japan is a perfect place for such an event. Thank you. It wasn't long ago we had the Mt. Gox hack. It could have destroyed the marketplace for cryptocurrency, and indeed it did for a period of time. Japan has bounced back from that. Recently they announced 11 cryptocurrency exchanges and money transfer businesses that will be legalized and regulated, and there are 17 more in application. So they have maintained their visionary status through this period and continue to be a leader. It's great to be here. Stepping back a bit, I want to talk about changes since Warsaw. We have to monitor these changes. I think we've built a nimble system to account for them. A little more than 3 months ago, many of us were in Warsaw, and Bitcoin was at an all-time high of $2,619. Many of you will note that today's price, which is really a couple days ago, is already old. But at the time, it was 3,907, down from peaks of 5,000, but showing great resiliency. This represents a 49% increase since June, and ends up in being a market cap of $65 billion, with a market cap for the entire crypto space of $136 billion. Now, undoubtedly, these are big numbers. They're very big numbers. But I think in the scheme of things, Bitcoin and the whole cryptocurrency space is still in diapers. As a method of comparison, I've put M0 of the Netherlands. M0 is the narrowest measure of monetary supply. It essentially accounts for physical coins and physical banknotes in circulation. In the Netherlands, which is a successful country, but a small country of 17 million people, the market cap, not really market cap, the physical supply of those coins and notes is roughly equal to the entire supply of Bitcoin. I would argue that Bitcoin can grow much beyond that. If you look at M2 of the Netherlands, which includes, M2 is a definition which includes bank deposits and other forms of money, doesn't include debt, doesn't include derivatives, those numbers can reach into the trillions. M2 alone is 14 times the size of M0, so the potential of all cryptocurrency is certainly great. Equally important, in the last 3 months we've seen a lot of technical developments. We've seen the split of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, we've seen SegWit soft fork activated, and we see currently scaling debates of Lightning Revive and Ethereum. Now, in the past, I think there was great worries that this cryptocurrency would have these growth tantrums. And clearly there have been battles as these different things have been adopted. I think that these recent developments show a great maturation, and hopefully this space can graduate out of diapers, and I'll spare you the baby analogy with that. Equally important, and something that has been a key component of our build, has been regulations. On the political side, shortly after we were in Poland, we saw the SEC rule on the DAO. Essentially, they said trading platforms are not exempt from securities regulations. This scared a lot of people. Those of us who've been on Wall Street recognize that when you start to talk about regulation, you have to have great teams of lawyers. You have to have great teams of regulators. This gets very expensive. It is not the stuff of startups. And this space is where it is because it is built of people with a startup mentality. It's built of revolutionaries. And, but revolutionaries and compliance don't often overlap. Subsequent to that, in September, we saw China banning ICOs, and that is what caused the drop, primarily the drop from 5,000 to currently 4,000. Just today, it was announced that South Korea is also banning ICOs. What's interesting to me is when you read the texts of these statements, one theme echoes in all of them. I'll read just China's, the People's Bank of China's comment, and I think it'll be clear. ICOs are essentially a form of non-approved, illegal public financing behavior and raises suspicions of illegal selling of notes and bills, illegal securities issuance, illegal deposit taking, financial fraud, illegal direct marketing, and related criminal activity. If you read the statements of Australia's Minister of Justice and the Reserve Bank of India, it's the same thing. It's fear of the unknown, it's fear of crime, it's fear of getting caught, as politicians will, caught at the wheel, not taking care of these things. On the other hand, I think greater regulation means greater recognition. We are a force that can no longer be ignored. In a what I consider a very important statement from the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Jay Clayton, he says, "The SEC is studying the effects of distributed ledger and other innovative technologies and encourages market participants to engage with us. We seek to foster innovative and beneficial ways to raise capital while ensuring, first and foremost, that investors and our markets are protected." I want to read one part of that twice because I think it's very important to the philosophy that we have taken in building our system. Second line, encourages market participants to engage with us. We have built Web Wallet and the DOS Exchange and the community around it so that we can go to regulators. In the past, I've worked with regulators. I did a lot of financings involving municipal bonds. They're often more confused than the people in the market, and if you can go to them, be safe. We have an authenticated network. We have a hardware wallet that is going to be protecting citizens. You won't get caught in a mega hack as long as people are using the system. It makes our case much, much better, and then people listen. And I'm not saying we're going to change policy, but we will try. So clearly, the regulatory landscape is evolving rapidly, and many of the design features of Dascoin and other parts of the system were built with that in mind. Now, while regulators are moving cautiously forward, Wall Street opinions, whoops, did I not go forward? Sorry about that. Wall Street opinions range from outright dismissal to cautious optimism. Here we see Jamie Dimon and Howard Marks. They're two of the largest voices on Wall Street. Jamie Dimon just recently, the last couple of weeks, came out and said Bitcoin is a fraud. He said that he would fire any of his employees caught engaging in it. This is a ridiculous statement because, as most people that are familiar with the industry recognize, JP Morgan has clients that already deal in Bitcoin, and JP Morgan has groups following it, and they're very active. So maybe he's just trying to make noise. It certainly could be. Howard Marks I consider a little more reasonable. He's one of the people that I follow, one of the people that I believe. Several months ago, he wasn't quite as negative as Jamie Dimon, but he was, stay away, cautious. A short time ago, he came out with a more optimistic position. Basically, he says he's starting to get it. And many of us in this room could probably remember 1 year, 2 years, 4 years ago when we all started to get it. I find it quite encouraging that Howard Marks is now starting to get it. He doesn't want to buy it yet because he considers it in a speculative bubble, but he's coming around. I think we can get him. Now, it's no surprise that Wall Street has its cynics. On one hand, again, having worked on Wall Street, you have your loudmouths. They know this is a hot topic. They want to be recognized. They'll figure out what to do with that recognition later. On the other hand, they're afraid. As Yellow Pages was afraid of Google, as taxis were afraid of Uber, still are afraid. Hotels, Airbnb, Blockbuster was afraid of Netflix. It's no longer afraid because it died. But and probably, for those of us that still have mailmen, they probably feared FedEx. So logic follows that Wall Street is afraid of this new revolution. That said, a minority on Wall Street still see the future in embracing the new technology, not fighting it. Standpoint Research is an up-and-coming firm, experts in the space. They're calling for 7,500 by year-end 2017. Pantera Capital, Dan Moorhead, actually a classmate of Michael's and mine. He's a very active investor in the space and someone that I also follow very carefully, is projecting 6,000 by the end of the year, as is Fundstrat Global, another bull that is getting a lot of time on CNBC and other networks. Goldman Sachs, my former employer and one of the largest, loudest voices on Wall Street, is jumping in the mix, saying 4,800 by year end. There are a number of other people, we saw in the video, people calling for 100,000, 1 million. When you look back at the other monetary measures that I noted, I certainly can't predict getting to those numbers, but I can certainly envision a scenario where that's possible. Now, and you and I are going to have a conversation after this presentation. She didn't have a picture. I have a picture of this famous gentleman. He is, of course, Mahatma Gandhi. He had I won't compare his struggle to ours, but we've both been on big uphill battles. He, of course, led Indian independence against British colonial rule, and he said, famously, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. It's my opinion that every day, less and less people in the crypto space are being laughed at. I think a lot of people in this room, maybe a year ago, you talk to people about getting involved in this, and they say, no, go away. I've heard anecdotally that there are people in this room now that those same people that went away are starting to call, starting to say, well, what was that you told me about a year ago? Well, here we are. So, in my opinion, the fight for recognition, the fight for the rebooting of the financial system has just begun. It's not clear to me, or I don't believe to anyone, what this battle means. Victory in this battle could mean many things. It could mean one global currency. It could mean 100 global currencies. It could mean 1 trillion in market cap, 5 trillion in market cap. It could mean broad regulatory approval. It could mean banking the unbanked. It could mean all of the above. No one knows, but I think DAS is positioned to benefit from any of these scenarios and to participate in any of these scenarios. Because we have long known that Web Wallet and DasX will be the most regulated components of our system, and our product design has reflected that belief. Here I've listed the core principles of Web Wallet and the DAS exchange. We anticipate regulators and intend to engage them as much as we can. A key component of this strategy will be KYCing all of our members. That's going to put to rest a lot of fears of illicit use that Monero and some of the other coins thrive on. We intend to be compliant across jurisdictions. We tend to maximize user security, doing something that no one else has done, including a hardware wallet. I see a lot of boxes in the audience, so people are going to become very familiar with this very soon, and I think it'll be quite evident the advantages that this will bring to our network. And I think this strategy will result in a broad, diverse user base and a merchant-ready platform. When I say merchant-ready, I mean merchant-ready, I mean app-ready, I mean service provider-ready. I think many people will recognize the value of having a 50,000, 100,000, a 500,000 member network with this profile. It'll be very, very valuable to us. On the next, Pavle, are you here, please? Many of you, Pavle Lekic is leading our support team in Belgrade. He's walked a number of people through the process of getting to the DAS exchange, and he will be talking to you, guiding you step by step through the process of getting to the point where you can do your own trade. So, Pavle?
You've got to do.
Hello, everybody. Just one moment to figure out the clicker for the. Yeah? Great. Okay. What we've seen with Mike and the first transaction made was very exciting. Now, I'm going to walk you through basically to the basic steps on how we can all trade and we can all make transactions, right? Okay, obviously the first step would be to create a web wallet. So Web Wallet is created by a special invitation, which we send in up to 7 days to every NetLeaders license owner. And there's an email that offers links and, of course, offers the short and clear tutorial on how to register and open your web wallet account, right? Now, we can essentially, that will be the first step one. And once the account from NetLeaders is assigned to a web wallet, we proceed further to something that's called KYC, or Know Your Customer system. This is essentially the system we established in order to, go back to the basics of the whole thing. So Dascoin should be the currency of trust, and what we want to do is to basically know all of our users and to be sure and certain that under every account, actually behind every account, there's an actual person. Why is this important? This way, we can prevent illegal activity, and then we can basically higher up the overall legitimacy of the whole thing, right? KYC is done through a series of standard questions regarding their personal information. A lot of our existing customers who opened their web wallet already did this, so I guess a good number of you is already familiar with the process, but the idea is the idea is that it's working through a system of validating the personal ID. This process is by default automatic, done by our system, and in certain cases, our support team from Belgrade is basically backing you up and helping out should certain cases arise. Okay, so we verified now our account via KYC, and then we go to step 3. There we go, the infamous validator. Okay, so some of you know me from the validator stand, obviously, and it was nice to see you again. And what the validator essentially does, George, how would you put it? A validator gives a signature to every transaction, actually gives a legitimacy to every transaction. It's another layer of security of the whole system. And to overly simplify it, not one transaction is possible without the validator itself.
Just to underscore that a little bit, even if you're someone that clicks every email attachment, prone to all kinds of malware, and I know people like this, your account will be unhackable if you keep your currencies on the validator. That's going to be great protection for everyone here.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you. Shall we go further?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Then we got the validator, obviously. So the step 4, we now would be setting up the hot wallet. So this is the new, obviously a new feature in the new web wallet version. So the hot wallet is used for actual trading. Now we have all of our assets in our web wallet account, but if we wish to make transactions and actually make a trade, we should be, placing those assets into the hot wallet. Hot wallet is also, of course, created with the validator, absolutely. So once we set up the hot wallet, we are essentially ready to trade. And now we go to the final step, which is DAS exchange.
Our time is limited today, so we will not be able to get into all of the features here. You saw we had a taste of them during the trade. Nice, flashy taste of them. Those of you familiar with the capital markets or have had brokerage accounts will recognize much of what is here. That is by design. We want this to be familiar. We want people to be able to function and be confident that they're buying and selling Dascoin before layering in any features. In the upper left quadrant, you see a familiar price graph. You see toggles for time frame and scale. On the right side, you'll see the state of the market, the last price, highs, lows, certain other reference currencies. On the second horizontal, third, you see toggles for your cash and reserve accounts, your buy and sell windows. At this moment, we decided to put in a fill or kill order. In Wall Street parlance, that means this is my order, take it or leave it now. If your trade is not executed, you come back. You can also place limit orders. Over time, we will add more sophisticated trading techniques for individuals, but we also want to put features in here that will be attractive to institutional investors, which I think we'll start to come to this platform more and more. On the lower part, on the left side, you see all the bid and the ask orders. That's going to give you a good feel of the depth of the market. And in the lower right, you have your trade history, so that you can, at the end of the year, keep good records for yourself. So to summarize, it is our strong belief that cryptocurrencies will play an increasing role in global commerce. From the beginning, Dascoin and the digital asset system have been designed in anticipation of this. With a global network of KYC issuers and a hardware wallet ensuring security, we think DAS is poised to become an important part of our ecosystem. Thank you very much.